Oh, and here we go again. All I did was read one verse in chapter 1 of Lamentations. She weepeth sore in the night, and her tears are on her cheeks. Among all her lovers she hath none to comfort her. All her friends have dealt treacherously with her. They are become her enemies. We're talking about a nation of people here, okay? Judah is gone into captivity because of affliction and because of great servitude. She dwelleth among the heathen. She findeth no rest. All her persecutors overtook her between the straits. That's what's going to happen to America. They continue to follow the evil people and allowing them to do their evil stuff, and you get deeper and deeper into the mud, and you can't get out. There's only one escape. That's calling upon the Lord. That's what I'm trying to tell you. The ways of Zion do mourn, because none come to the solemn feast. All her gates are desolate. Her priests sigh. Her virgins are afflicted, and she is in bitterness. Can you imagine the amount of people that feel like this in our country? There's a lot of them. A lot of them that fall in despair like that are the ones that are addicted by drugs. Now that affects your brain. It really screws things up. Now I didn't get affected by drugs. I did a little smoking pot, a few other things, but I didn't get into that crap. Because I didn't want none of this stuff. Her adversaries are the chief. Her enemies prosper. For the Lord has afflicted her for the multitude of her transgressions. Her children are gone into captivity before the enemy. That's what happens when you don't follow Jesus. And from the daughter of Zion, all her beauty is departed. Her princes are become like harts that find no pasture, and they are gone without strength before the pursuer. Jerusalem remembered in the days of her affliction and of her miseries all her pleasant things that she had in the days of old. When they found out about God, they followed God before they got back off the path. That's what happened to them. And then they remembered the good days. I remember that stuff. I remember them good days. And I got off the path. And I thought I was doing good, but I wasn't. And then I remembered why I was feeling like I was feeling. Then I called upon the name of the Lord again. It's when I did it with the tears rolling down my face. I meant it. And he picked me up again. And he cleaned me off all over again. Said, hey man, don't get back into that dirt. It's not good. The flame of the candle is very hot. It looks pretty. And it's kind of small. But you cannot endure the pain. It's impossible. Jerusalem remembered in the days of her affliction and of her miseries all her pleasant things that she had in the days of old, when her people fell into the hand of the enemy, and none did help her. The adversaries saw her and did mock at her Sabbaths. They They were teasing him. I could say a few other things about the Sabbath, but I'm not gonna. If you're a Catholic, get out of it. Jerusalem hath grievously sinned. That's the Catholicism. Therefore she is removed. All that honored her despise her, because they have seen her nakedness. In other words, everything came out in the open. They have seen her nakedness, yea, she sigheth and turneth backward. You know, when I was a kid, growing up in that little town where I lived back in the 50s, there was a Catholic church there. You know, there was gay priests in there. I didn't know it at the time. I was told later on when I got older. And I was told by someone who knew, man. Some of them were alcoholics. And some of the females, the nuns, back in them days, they were wearing them penguin suits, the habits, they call them. A lot of them were walking the dirt path, too. And it was a prominent Catholic church in the town. And it was on the wrong path. They deceived a lot of people. Her filthiness is in her skirts. She remembereth not her last end. Therefore she came down wonderfully. She had no comforter. O Lord, behold my affliction, for the enemy hath magnified himself. The adversary hath spread out his hand upon all her pleasant things, for she hath seen that the heathen entered into her sanctuary, whom thou didst command that they should not enter into thy congregation. They allowed them to come in. I just heard about a priest. I'm not sure what city this guy was in. Maybe Boston or somewhere. He just died. But it was revealed. The truth was revealed about this Catholic priest, where he used to protect the individuals that were molesting the kids. Huh? You want to hear any of this stuff? This is being hidden. It's not talked about in the open as much as it should, because it reveals the evil that's in America, and the evil is painted over with a white paint, trying to make it look good. But it's a lie. The communist Muslim that led America for 8 years was a liar. And, in my opinion, I believe he was gay. And I think that wife that he had, I think that was also a gay man. Check that out. The communist Muslim. He's a liar. All her people sigh. They seek bread. They have given their pleasant things for meat to relieve the soul. See, O Lord, and consider, for I am become vile. This is the nation of Israel, man. They're repenting. The people of America need to repent. I have, and I have found comfort. That's why I'm sitting here telling you this. I don't gain anything from sitting here doing this in the middle of the night. Nobody's going to give me a boat or a vacation to Maui or something like that. I get my benefit from God. Every day that I wake up, and I'm surprised that I do, I say, wow, I got another one. Every day I get is by His grace, and I understand that. Is it nothing to you, all ye that pass by, everybody that's watching? Behold, and see if there be any sorrow like unto my sorrow, which is done unto me, wherewith the Lord hath afflicted me in the day of His fierce anger. God turns His back on you. That's all He has to do. When He turns His back on you, Satan moves in. He removes those two circles that were placed around you when you were in safety. Nothing can stop Satan from moving in. From above hath He sent fire into my bones, and it prevaileth against them. He hath spread a net for my feet. He hath turned me back. He hath made me desolate and faint all the day. And by doing, all he has to do is turn his back. If he withdraws, there's no protection. Look what's happening in California. Look what happens in Chicago. It's black killing black every single day. And Chicago has a white mayor. Huh? A lot of white cops. And they go along with it. They just let the blacks kill each other. Why should they try to stop it? They don't matter. Not to them. Those particular black lives don't matter. Not a bit. They prove it each day. They kill each other, and nobody stops it. God has turned His back on Chicago. The yoke of my transgressions is bound by His hand. They are wreathed and come up upon my neck. He hath made my strength to fall. The Lord hath delivered me into their hands, from whom I am not able to rise up. That's what happened to the nation of Israel. That's what's coming to America. He turns his back on America. The only people that are going to make it through are individuals. I'm really happy that I'm one of those. But I don't want to see all the garbage that's going to happen to my country. The Lord hath trodden underfoot all my mighty men in the midst of me. He hath called an assembly against me to crush my young men. The Lord hath trodden the virgin, the daughter of Judah, as in a winepress. He's talking about a country here. All the people. When God turns His back on you, when He withdraws, everything falls apart. For these things I weep. Mine eye runneth down with water. Those are tear balls. Because the Comforter that should relieve my soul is far from me. My children are desolate, because the enemy prevailed. This is what happened to a country, to a nation. It's recorded in this book. You should read this stuff every single day. It shows you what's going to happen to you if you don't follow God. But you don't do it. Maybe you got a good job, you're making a fair amount of money, but you're not doing it godly. You're not living that godly life. You have to acknowledge Christ in your life. Otherwise, you think you're doing it on your own steam, and you're not. It's a blessing from God. Zion spreadeth forth her hands, and there is none to comfort her. The Lord hath commanded concerning Jacob, that his adversaries should be round about him. Jerusalem is as a menstruous woman among them. Menstruous. You know what a menstrual period is, right? It's a woman that's bleeding all the time. She's in distress. She's bloated. She has pain. She's in misery. Why? Because of sin. Keep yourself from sin, man. It's all sin. Wow. Here's verse 18, chapter 1 in Lamentations. I told you, this is a book about what happened to Israel, man, and the people back in them days. And they're lamenting over what was going on. A lot of them were sorry. Jeremiah sure is. It says right here in the top, the Lamentations of Jeremiah. He's trying to get God to help, but the people wouldn't pay attention to it. He was a prophet. He went to all these people and said, hey man, you can't do that stuff. The Lord is righteous, for I have rebelled against his commandment. Hear, I pray you, all people, and behold my sorrow. My virgins and my young men are gone into captivity. Paragraph after paragraph after paragraph. This book shows the results of turning your back on God. I'm not trying to make a big deal out of this. I'm just showing you the facts here. Matter of fact, I don't want to read any more in this book right now because it's not good stuff. I think you heard enough about this. Now you can go on in this book. And after this, you probably get into Ezekiel. Ezekiel's next. Where you want to read about Ezekiel. Stuff is great. Now, Lamentations isn't very long. It's only like, chapter 4. Yeah, there's 5 chapters. Let me read the last verse in Lamentations. But thou hast utterly rejected us. Thou art very wroth against us. He went all the way through the whole book. And the last verse says God rejected them people. He didn't bring them back. He was mad against them. That's the very last verse in the book. All that stuff could have been prevented. All they had to do was listen to that one man who was talking to him at the time. And in this case, Jeremiah. Now, there was other people, Isaiah, Daniel. Maybe I should talk about Daniel a little bit. Right, let me knock this off and let me talk about Daniel a little bit. Let me hit this button.